Educating girls, breaking barriers is what an Afghan woman do. I am from Afghanistan. What is the first word that crosses your mind? War, children, women, the Taliban, refugees, or starvation crisis. Being an Afghan is my identity, home with beauties and cultural differences, food, nature. But now it's the home of violence, injustice, and forced silence of women. My name is Khatira Daryabi. I'm 18 years old, studying Bachelor and Master of Management in a dual degree program at Sauder School of Business with a full scholarship. In Canada, this is possible. In Afghanistan, women like me are the exception. I left home by myself at age 14 to pursue the dream to get an education and be the first Afghan female president in a country full of hope and boundless possibilities. My story began when I was ashamed to be a girl. I denied the power within me. I believed society would respect, include, and allow me to speak freely, bike whenever I pleased, and most importantly, go to school without fear of being stopped, only if I were a boy. I insisted people to call me Bakhtosh, my favorite guy name. I remember being upset when they told me I can never be a guy. I did not know exactly what that meant. After 2 years of denying my identity, the idea of women empowerment sparked and then inspired me to act courageously. I was jealous of the freedom and that dominancy. But enough is enough to be sitting around and accepting repression. I said YOLO and started my new journey, believing that being a girl symbolizes warrior, persistency, leadership, where we work together to bring positive changes. I am a leader, a women's education's right activist, and 2 years ago I was nominated for the International Children Peace Prize in 2020 and received the certificate award. My story of being a women's rights activist began when I secretly rode my brother's old-fashioned bike around the yard. I experienced freedom. I grew the vision to see more girls bike despite the cultural barriers. But that is my and all Afghan women's fight. I convinced my dad to purchase a bike. My family was furious about any danger that could harm me and constantly reminded me not to bike to school. But I did anyway. I was a troublemaker even back then. There were days people threw rocks at my bike, cursed me, the day that I cried alone and hid the bruises I had on my knees from my parents. Because the sense of protection and their responsibility to keep me safe always came first. We ran weekly biking projects to promote peace, change the culture barriers, and freedom from wearing burqa to biking on Kabul's street, to going to school and running for political offices. We joined an established biking organization where we taught girls how to bike, especially my neighborhood girls. It was magical to hear their voice of laughter and the motto, "Fly as far as you can, the world is yours." We ran bike racing projects as a member of a student council. Day by day, the threats for the biking athletes increased. But changes were happening slowly but surely. We grew from 10 to over 100 members, which encouraged more organizations to do the same. It was beautiful to see both men and women were supporting, working collectively to achieve one goal, women empowerment and fighting for women's and children's rights. I grew up in a misogynistic culture where women are constantly told and treated as weak, ineffective, and assigned household tasks, giving birth, cooking, and obeying all the rules under unequal circumstances in a male-dominated country. Children's schools, dreams were bombed every day, and my school, Marifat, was targeted. In May 2018, the Taliban attacked the police station, bombs that exploded in school neighborhoods, and the gunshots that started a panic and drew tears in everyone's eyes. I remember the smile on my face, hugging the kindergarten students who fainted, and it became my job to find my best friend's brother and calm their hopeless worlds. I remember tirelessly repeating that I will fight the Taliban, but my weapon were pen and colorful pencils. We grew up in a traumatic environment, but learned to be resilient and fight the Taliban with holding pens and constantly educating ourselves. After years of fighting, running projects and threats, I left Afghanistan and started a new chapter in Canada without my family. Despite the language barrier, culture shock, and many other challenges, I fought the ups and downs and I made it here. I miss home and the dream to go back one day, cycle fearlessly on Kabul's street, open biking shops, boarding schools for girls, and see the smiles of freedom, happiness, and resilience again. But on August 15th, my world of hope and dream took a deeper look. President Ghani fled the country, and the Taliban took over Kabul. Still, before the entry, my family collectively burned the records of our achievements, projects we had done for girls, and buried the library books that welcomed girls from my neighborhood to practice reading and writing skills. Because if they had not done that, things would have been different. Everything happened so fast. I felt I was buried alive with those books, as it killed the dreams of millions of girls and vanished the appearance of women in Afghanistan. This time, weapons, fear, violence, illiteracy, ignorance painted over women's freedom. And the work of 20 years of our generation that lit a brighter candle for change was ruined. After high school graduation, I was working a full-time and a part-time job to support my family. But my morning routine changed. To wake up, check if my family and friends were alive, offer help, support, and read the 1,000+ news updates, and check how close the bomb explosions were to our house. This includes the chaotic and terrifying scene at the airport as the Taliban shot and bombed people as they pleased, taking the lives of more than 300 civilians. My brother were a few meters away from that. I continued to feel hopeless, glued to the screen, screaming and looking at the politicians for help. My generation and I have been fighting ignorance with our lives. Me, my sister, and my cousin were crying together. But those were tears of being forgotten, abandoned. They knew we were the victims, but punished us like we were responsible for 9/11. We were innocent children, mothers, tomorrow's leaders. When the chaos at the airport happened and people were falling from the airplane, trying to run for their lives, no one reacted. We screamed for help. Afghanistan women are tortured trying to say no to barbarism. But we were a forgotten piece of history, as Afghan lives don't matter. Even though schools are not open, biking is banned, women are breeding under burqa and violence, and happiness is buried by fear and force. I will not give up on dreaming and working so hard to be the first Afghan female president, or see the millions of girls to bike on Kabul's street, promote peace, and defend their human rights. I challenge you and the world to not look away. As the noise dies down and Afghanistan slips from the front pages, do not look away. I'll see you then from the presidential palace in maybe 20 years and showing you the dance of freedom and woman empowerment, only if you do not look away. Today, the Taliban closed the school doors. Traveling for women is banned. Women and journalists are abducted, silenced forever. Expressing and appreciating the culture of art is banned. Hundreds are punished and killed for pursuing their passion. As I cannot cover everything that's going on, I urge you to please do not abandon Afghanistan again, as we need your help to raise our voices. Today is a new start. I encourage you to act, but before, reflect on peace, freedom, the impact that you can bring by taking small changes to work to build a better world for everyone. Do not accept the de facto government, not unless women's rights are considered, and doors of political, educational, and social opportunities are open for them. Allow Afghan women to speak their minds, express their human rights, when sitting at the table to decide the political stand in Afghanistan. Do not decide our future without having an Afghan woman as our representative, as we deserve to be heard and live in peace. Do not allow the school closure and imprisoning women at home to be assigned to household tasks that violates their human rights and leads to rape or early forced marriages. Expand the number of refugee acceptance, especially for those who are in danger. Increase the humanitarian aid and help those who are selling their kidneys and selling their 5-year-old daughter to the Taliban to feed the other family members. I believe cultural change, women empowerment is possible. I am not a leader. We are leaders towards building a brighter future for everyone. Trust me, the world is beautiful to experience it together. Let's act before it's too late. I want us to destroy the darkness, the ignorance, and ignite the value of humanities, where women are encouraged to go to school, to learn about their rights, and help us to build a new Afghanistan from the bottom up. I'll leave you with a poem that I wrote in 2018. United Nations, we are the victim of your silence. On unburied pain engraves on how we pay for being a Hazara, a Shia Muslim, and a citizen of Afghanistan. You think I hate my country? What I hate are the producers of the hit show you stream, Bloody Afghanistan. Popcorn in hand, season after season, on so long, it's now a classic. Of endless pain, the terror of a deadly cliffhanger for fathers and mothers that fills every moment of the day. Trapped in a story where genocide brings pride, there are no commercial breaks from the crimes, guns, and bloodshed. United Nations, I know you handcuff the criminal, put them in jails for good to teach them the rules of humanity. You bring out your whiteboards and markers, hire a professor to write down the do's and don'ts of humanity. United Nations, we need you to act. We need another world where it's written in universal law, war is forbidden. Today, the shooters killed 20 women in labor. The newborn babies are robbed of their first cries and first words and first dreams, robbed us all of their future lives, a future president, a small act of kindness. Hear their spirits calling. United Nations, hear the victim of your silence. While animals sit giggling around a fire, Kabul, Nangarhar, Bagh boiling in blood, your condolences do not melt the rock in a mother's throat. Turning down the lights of Paris won't heal the wound of ruthless pain. Your dirty policy, your silence enables the bloodshed. Like the lynching of Farkhunda Malikzada, 27, felled by hundreds of men, as blood poured like a water, ran like a river from the mouth, screaming, I did not do this, thousands of times. Like the unborn children, Farkhunda, boneless, turned to ashes. The men turned off their phone, calmly headed home. I want to sleep at night. I want to be a girl that does not have to say, I did not do this, thousands of times throughout my life. United Nations, a million bleeding eyes looking at you, hungry for peace, not fake tokens. It's not too late. break your silence. Like our farmers, we ask you to do something real. Plant a seed of peace in our ghost hearts.